guys, Henry here. So today I'm going to be talking a little bit about SE.Live OBS. I've had a lot of questions from my viewers about how I run my stream through OBS and how I set up scenes, set up my filters, set up any casting devices, stuff like that. I know there's loads of these on YouTube and you might be questioning what's different your video to anyone else's. There is probably no difference, I'll be honest with you. It might just be the way I explain it. And I'm quite happy to try and help new streamers work out OBS and any of its bugs they're having, because although there is no real bugs I've found with OBS, it's trying to learn it. So I'm currently recording this session on Streamlabs, and I actually installed Streamlabs specifically to make this video. So I'm currently teaching myself how to use it so I can help other people who are using Streamlabs, because it is very, very well used, and it is an easier system apparently. I've not used it personally, so I wouldn't know, but so far it's been a relatively easy transition, mainly because I learned on OBS, and OBS, when you open it, it's very simplistic. It is a difficult software to learn. Like, if you just open it first time and you have no idea about it and you're just looking at it, it's like deer in the headlights. You're like, what do I do here? Whereas Streamlabs, it basically allows you to have preset scenes and overlays which you just add in, and it makes it so streamlined. Hopefully I can give people some tips and answer some questions. The biggest questions I face, we go into here. Wavelengths on, get rid of that. So the biggest questions I face are, how have you done that with your audio? How have you done that with your video? So I'm going to set up a few things. So I've currently got a blank scene set up. First one is setting your scenes. So there's a few people I've talked through recently and they've just got the original scene, and what they've done is they've loaded all their sources into one scene. So if I open this scene, you'll see there's loads and loads of sources in here. This is my main place scene. So it's got loads and loads of different sources. I'm not saying you're going to need all of these. It's mainly because of what I do, and I do varied amounts of streaming, and it's like I said, it's entirely up to you how you do it. I'm just here to try and give you a hand on how it makes your life easier. So if we go over to blank, so this is a clean slate of OBS SE.Live. So when you want to start a new scene, what you do is you just click add scene at the bottom, that little plus button, and you want to do this scene as, say, we're going to call this tutorial, just so I don't lose track of it and I know what it means. So this is SE.Live's version, as opposed to having just a bog standard OBS, and that's because I like the docs. So if you've just got OBS, you go into docs, and here you can choose what you want to see. So you can bring up a chat, it's your chat window, and when it wants to dock, but apparently it doesn't want to right now. Yeah, there we go. So it's docked in there. So that's your normal chat you get with OBS. And then if you go over to the docs again, and click stream information, that'll bring your dock up there. It might be detached, all you've got to do is slot it in wherever you want. You can put it up here if you wanted to. You can put it over here. It doesn't matter where you put it, it's wherever it's comfortable for you. I always put mine here, I always have chat here. The main reason for that is because of how I've got my setup. So I've got a main monitor here which I'm looking at you directly. To my right, I've got another monitor which is where I put my OBS on. So having this on chat on the left is most convenient to me because it means I can just quickly look over. I do usually have Stream Manager as well set up on another monitor, which is a web browser, currently running through Chrome because Opera doesn't support it and it doesn't quite work with the adverts. So I prefer to have OBS open while I'm streaming because then I can see if there's any issues. I can see if there's any bitrate issues, any frame drops, it does help you, and it's also having all your scenes there and being able to see exactly what scene you're on, what audio's coming out of where, whether it's all working, whether you've got any mutes happening. I know you can do a lot of this on Stream Deck, but being able to see it on the screen, and as opposed to having buttons on the Stream Deck, it's all good, but you want to be able to see it. You want to be able to see it at most times, unless you've got a specialist or specifically designed, say, Go XLR or mixer in front of you where you can just see it easily and it's not on screen, it's fine. You can use that. But if you're just setting up and you don't have any of these like Rodecaster Pro 2s, things like that, you can just put it on another screen if you've got another screen and have it there. It does make your life a little bit easier when you are streaming. So I'm going to drop that chat because I use Stream Elements. So if you have se.live, you can go into docs and you can click chat. I like the se.live activity feed just because of how easy I find it to use. So I can drop this activity feed down here. So as you can see, my background has changed because I've removed the docs. So if I put in my custom docs, so you can have custom docs as well, and I may or may not cover that in another video, but it'll be something at a later date. This is something which is you're getting pretty advanced and pretty into OBS. So I use something called Feature Chat. It's just something which is a little mod, but we'll cover that in another video. It just means I can display things on stream. And let me know in the comments if you want to see a video on this, and I'll see if I can expedite it and get it done as soon as possible. So what we're aiming to do here is we're aiming to create a, say, basic scene. Doesn't have to be anything particularly fancy. I mean, you go into some streams and you see all these overlays all around people, cameras down here in the bottom. I used to have one of those. I don't have them now. Mainly because I find my viewers don't actually mind that much. They want to be able to see what I'm streaming. So I put myself in the bottom corner and have the game like opened up. And I usually stick myself in this bottom corner here. And the reason I do that is because if people are watching on mobile in landscape mode, if I'm over here on this right hand corner, they can't see me because chat's covering me. And a lot of people like to have face-to-face communication. Now, I completely understand why people wouldn't want to show their face on stream, and I agree with them. That is their choice. I'm not saying you have to have a camera. It's completely your choice if you want to have a camera or not. But if you are having a camera, I do recommend sticking it down in this left-hand corner because it makes things a lot easier for the viewer who does like to see your facial expressions, stuff like that, because of where it is. But putting it here, when you put it in landscape mode on mobile, it basically, the chat just covers it, and it can be a little bit obscuring. Obviously, it will cover part of the game, but that's not as important to some people. That's why I stick it down here. So, enough about that. We're going to go into some of the scenes and stuff. So, we've set up a scene. So, really, if you've got multiple scenes, you've got be right back screens, stuff like that. I've got a be right back screen. I'll probably remove my camera. No, I'll put my camera over it, that's what. So I've got be right back screen. I've got different screens for different things. These were my old overlays. I don't use these overlays anymore, and it's very rare I use a be right back screen because I have got videos which I have made and I use those instead. So if you are getting into content creation as well, that's another thing you want to do. Even if it's just a little video, like showing people your world, showing people what you've done, even just a highlight reel, things like that. You can use those as be right back screens instead. It keeps people engaged rather than having a be right back screen where people come in, say people have come in on a raid, or people have just joined your channel because they've seen you somewhere. Like, if they come in and they see this, they go, oh, well, this is great. Even if you've got music playing, people just join and they go, oh, I'll be right back screen. I'm going to leave now. And they won't even drop a follow. But they probably won't even see you ever again. So I do recommend having these videos because it makes your stream more interactive to people. So if I do, I'm just going to make sure I've not got a source open here, which I haven't. Cool. So if we click on this one, it brings you into a world. I've done a video of a world, and it keeps people engaged, and I do recommend that you do these videos. I got this idea from BL Andrew 575, and he always plays videos during his save times, during his break times. It keeps people engaged. I do absolutely recommend that everybody who can uses a video instead of a be right back screen. Again, if you want to use a be right back screen, that is your choice. But to keep your viewers engaged, I do recommend having a video. It is paramount to keeping your viewers engaged. Even if it's the same video you play each time, it still keeps newer viewers engaged. They're like, oh, this guy's alright. He plays a video while he's taking a break. Because that will also bring me on to another thing. That's for your subscribers, people like that. And even people who aren't. This is a 5-minute long video. And when you are taking a break, to minimize ads, because if you're an affiliate, you have to run ads. You can't turn them off. So I do recommend running a 1-minute 30-second ad while you take a break. Even if one of your videos is playing, run a 1-minute 30-second ad. It means your viewers, even the ones who just follow you, don't subscribe, those viewers won't miss anything. They might get an ad here and there on a pre-roll, but it won't be as bad as mega block ads. So if you can play an ad while you're taking a break, it makes their experience better. And that's just another little tip. It does help. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our tutorial screen, and we're going to get onto our sources now. So when you click on the little plus button underneath your sources, it brings up loads of different points. So what you can do is you can set up a scene using just this. And the main way you're able to do this, so if I want to do a video capture device, I can't see it here. So we do a video capture device. So I've got an existing which is called a stream cam, but I don't think it'll work. Yeah, it won't work because I'm using my camera now. So if we remove that, I'll show you how to set it up anyway. But essentially, say I wanted a video capture device. I'm not going to call it webcam. Make source visible. Okay, so it brings up your camera, and usually it'd show you here. It won't have a chroma key background because that's what I'm using. So for instance, say I wanted to put in a camera. Just choose whatever camera you've got. Unfortunately, I can't show it on here because I am streaming with it. And I don't have 2 cameras. It would be ideal if I did, but I don't. But you choose whichever camera you use to stream. You click on that. And you click OK. And that's where your scene is. Now, if you right click on it and you click transform, you can choose fit to screen. And then you just small it down, and that's where your camera will sit. I suppose for now I could set it to what you call Streamlabs. Streamlabs have a virtual camera, and you can now see my Streamlabs setup. You just see this screen again, and that's what I've got set up as my camera because I don't have anything currently set up. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to set up a source for a game capture. So you've got multiple display captures. So you've got display, game, window, and video capture. So video capture you use for your cameras, webcams, whatever you've got. If you've got multiple cameras, that's what you use a video capture for. Window capture, that's just if you want to capture like specific windows, web pages, stuff like that. And it follows the same principles as the game capture. Display capture is if you want to capture the whole of a display. So I'm currently display capturing this whole scene because you can see my taskbar there. So what we're going to do is we're going to use game capture, and it'll bring up this little dialogue here, and we're going to call it Balloons Tower Defense 6 because that's the game we're going to open. So BT6 Balloons Tower. Oh, I suppose we could do D2. Oh, BTD 6 Balloons Tower Defense 6. Okay, so that's going to be one of our sources, and then it brings up capture any full application. Now you may not want to, so I recommend using specific window because then you can set it up to that specific window, and you can set up multiple of them if you play different games. I usually set mine to Satisfactory, but I've tried setting it up as a window, and Satisfactory, there's bugs. It's an early access game. Currently it's not letting me play it in a windowed version. It can only play full screen, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do Balloons Tower Defense 6, so Balloons TD6. Okay, and there it is, and that is the game. That's your source. Make sure you click on it and it's selected. You're then able to set the size of that source, and you can then move it around your screen as and when you want to. Currently it shows up behind me because that's how I've got it set up. But if you see here, if I put it on a full screen, so all of these which bring up dialogues, you just right click, fit to screen, you can't see that webcam we've added. And the reason is because the sources work on a chronological order. So the top of your sources, that's going to be the front of your page at any given time. So the back of your page is going to be webcams. It's a bit like when you used to use like Microsoft PowerPoint. That's the best explanation I can give you in comparison, is that you bring things to the front of the page or send it to the back, depending on what you are doing. So all you got to do is like click and hold it and just drag it, and then you're able to see it again. So we're going to make this slightly smaller. Oh, actually no, we'll leave it in. We'll leave it in. So then what we're going to do is, we've got our game, we've got our webcam. What we're going to do is we're going to add an audio source. So in order to do that, what you can do is you can select an audio input capture. Brings up this. So we're going to do mic 1, and that's how we're going to talk. Click OK. Brings up your dialogue again, and what you do is you select whichever microphone you want. I've got multiple microphones and multiple like links because I've got a few different things installed. So I'm going to choose Elgato Wave 1 because that's the mic I'm currently using, and you click OK. And what that'll do is it will bring this into the audio mix for you. So you can choose if your say your webcam's got a microphone, mine is disabled, so you can't see it on here. You can mute it. Make sure there's no audio coming out your webcam because you want to use your best audio source. If your best audio source is headphones, that's what you want to set it to. If you've got a headset mic, that's what you want to set it to. It's going to be better than your built-in laptop or possible webcam microphone, unless you've got a really good webcam with high quality microphone quality. But I'm still going to say go with a headset mic if you haven't got a condenser microphone or a USB microphone. It's going to be better quality. So as you can see, it's running quite high on here. My audio is currently coming through a separate point because I'm recording through Streamlabs, so you won't be able to hear this, but we will do it in a minute. So in order to set up your microphone, you'll see there's a volume slider here. I clicked the wrong screen, that's what that was. So there's a volume slider, so you can choose where you want your volume to sit. So we're going to leave that open at the moment. So what we're going to do now is we're going to set up a noise gate and compressor. So this helps with ensuring that your audio you're producing isn't going to be too loud or too quiet for stream. And you're also going to be able to set a noise gate, which basically means you've got a cutoff point. So things like tapping on keyboards won't be heard, and like your fans in the background from your PC, they won't be heard. Obviously setting it up, I can only set it up to how my conditions are, but you could have different conditions. You could have louder conditions, but you can basically play with it and set it up right for you. So what we're going to do is I'm going to grab my headphones so I can hear what you guys are hearing. And I've got a strange audio source, game audio. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up this, and we're going to click something called filters. So when you right click these, it will bring up all your different options, so you can choose what color you want to set it, you can rename the source, you can order it, move up, top, bottom, you can hide it in the mixer so you can't see it. You don't want to do that because you want to see your microphone, you want to see you transmitting audio. So before we go into that, I'm going to just do something. You guys don't need to do this because it's not something you need to do. I'm only doing it so I can hear it. Otherwise I'm not going to know, and you guys won't be able to hear it either. So I'm going to click monitor and output. And what that'll do, it just allows me to hear it, and you guys can do it if you want to, but you could end up talking like a robot because there will be a slight delay, and you'll be hearing yourself at a slight delay, and you start talking in a little sort of robot voice because you'll be listening to yourself and you're thinking it's got a delay, and I'm thinking I've not said it yet. So I don't recommend doing it on your microphone, but any other audio source you can do it on. So we're going to close that out, and we're going to turn off our audio source here, and now you should be able to hear me through Streamlabs. Now you can see it's a little bit high on the mixer, so really you want it just to be hitting that orange point on the mixer, but we're going to fix that. We're going to sort it out. So what we're going to do is we'll set the filters before we set the max volume, and how we do this, we right click and we go to filters, and we open something in OBS, and it will basically give you an option for audio filters, and you can choose, I recommend VST2X plugins. So we're going to call this our comp for compressor. Actually, we'll do noise gate first. Noise gate first. Noise gate at the top, and then we'll also create one called a compressor. Again in VS2 comp. So what we do is just select plugin, and we're going to call it. We're going to select this one. It's called Regate Standalone, and we open this interface. And what it does is it brings us up this little dialogue. And the reason we're going to do this is because currently, if I stop talking, you're going to be able to hear me tapping on my keyboard. Doesn't sound great, does it? So what you're going to do is you're going to set your level when it's quiet, or as quiet as it's going to be. So we're going to set it just above that. I usually set mine to about 33. Depending on where you are, depends on what audio level you're going to need to set it and how loud it is around you. So what we're going to do is, so now I'll stop talking. You can see it falls below it. And I'm going to tap on my keyboard. You can see where it rises, but it doesn't actually go on the output mix. But because my voice is speaking, as I'm speaking, it's going above that point, you will be able to hear it. And as you can see, it's dipping into that yellow, and that's not the area we want to be. So you don't actually really need to set anything else up on here. We'll sort it in the compressor as being the next point. So we're going to close that down, close that plugin, and then we'll go to comp, and we set it's Regate comp standalone. Don't do the Re-X, just do this one. It's simple. So we open this again, and it brings us up this. And basically what we can do, I usually set mine to a ratio of 4, because that's just what works better. And you just bring this slider down as to where you want it to cut out the audio. Because this is your main source, it's before we even get to our mixer on OBS. This is a filter before that. So what it does is, as you can probably hear, is it's cutting out any loud sounds. So really you want to set it to about here, because that's your normal talking level. Now when you're streaming, say something happens in game and you shout into the microphone, it doesn't increase the audio too much. And you saw this like little slider here get really, really red. And what that does is it's cutting the audio out and bringing the audio down. And that's what a compressor does to streamline your audio. And even if you're talking too quietly as well, it will try and keep that audio at the same level for you. And it will actually bring it up and bring the gain up. Without you having to do anything, it will just automatically do it. You can have been able to tell I started whispering. Maybe my voice was a little bit more soft, but that's all you'll be able to tell, the same audio level besides. So now we're done with these, you can close that interface, and you can close this down. And then what you can do is you can then adjust your main mic level. And you can set it to probably about there, maybe a little bit less, just so it's just bumping into that orange part of your mix, which is like your mid clip. And that's all you need to do. That's your microphone setup. You may want to add EQ. You add EQ to your specifications and how you want it to sound. Again, you can just do that, right click, filters, and you can do that by clicking add, and all you do is you just do another VST to, I'm not going to keep this one, so I'm not going to name it, and you just click re-EQ. Now you can do these through their standalone like compressors, but the reason I recommend the Regate is because trying to gauge your audio based on this interface isn't as easy, because you can't see the actual levels like there and visual within it. Trying to adjust it on this can get quite difficult, so I don't recommend using the built-in ones to OBS. I recommend using VST2. So I'm going to remove that because we don't need it. Let's close that down. That's your microphone all set up. I'm going to switch back over to my other mic. So it's the same principle. I've set mine up on Streamlabs already. I've just switched over so we can actually mute that. And the mute button does work. It will stop anything going out to stream. But if you are monitoring, it will also mute it too. But for instance, that is our microphone setup now. If you do see it dipping, you can just drop the audio level down. What am I doing? Drop the audio down a little bit, just to keep it within good ranges. You don't want to be deafening your viewers with an ultra loud microphone. Now, in terms of game audio, what we might want to do is set up something called a an audio application capture. So if you haven't got a program like Voicemeeter or Wavelink for instance, because Wavelink only comes without Elgato microphones or Wavelink or Wave XLR. That's the only way you can get Wavelink. It's not like a standalone software. Voice meter you can install on anything, but Voice meter also comes with problems, and it's another application you've got to use. Now I know this says beta. I've been using it for a few months now. I've had no issues with it whatsoever. So audio application capture. Let's bring that over. So my camera's right in the way. And we're going to call this Bloons Tower Defense 6 Audio, because that's what we want to capture. We click OK, and then we choose the window, and we just choose it to be Bloons Tower Defense 6. Okay, and now we've got game audio. Again, you probably want to set this to half of what your microphone is, just to get the right balance within the stream. But setting it about there, maybe even less. But if you want to include the game audio, say game audio is quite important to the game, set it about half of your microphone so they can still hear the game and they can still hear you. And that's basically just how you quickly set up your audio. It's all built into OBS, that feature. As long as you've got OBS 28, it's built in, and it makes things a lot easier for you. So that's your microphone, that's your source, so your game scene, your webcam, which is down here. I know it's not right, but yeah, that's your webcam. And then you've got your audio source all set up in here. That's your stream sorted. Now, if you want to do things like music and stuff, you can do that. You can do that relatively easily. And the way you do that is by setting... you can either do an audio output capture, so you can do something like this, so call it music. I'm going to open another application on my PC called Groove Music, because that's the Windows base. So where's that page gone? So we're going to do music. Click OK. Oh, I need to stop grabbing that scene. Then what we're going to do is we're going to set it to Groove Music. Okay. So now we've got that set up, what we can do is I'm going to find a quick music file, which is completely fine, so we're going to play that. So now we've got that playing. So I've got that playing in my ear, which I don't need to hear. So now you've got that playing, it's coming through music. Drop it down again. Drop it down. You don't want it too loud. You may want it slightly quieter than your game audio. It's up to you. I don't usually play with game audio because it's not important to my game, so I've just got it turned off and I'll just have my music playing. And I usually have that around half again, half of my microphone. People can still hear me, but they can also hear the music. Now what you want to set up, if you are planning on doing music, what you want to do is you want to go into your settings on OBS. And I'm going to quickly move myself because I'm in the way. So now you've got your settings in OBS, and what you do is you can go to, I believe it's output. Yeah. So in OBS, you've got Twitch VOD track. Now you can choose any of these tracks. I set mine to 6, and then I set my audio track going out to stream as number 1. It just makes sense in my head. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our audio, and if you right click on this, you can choose advanced audio properties where we were earlier. And what you can basically do is you can then go through your audio, and if we make this a bit bigger, you can see I've got multiple audio sources. So everything currently is going out apart from desktop audio, which you can't see because we're not currently using it. So your music track is currently going out to your VODs. You do not want it going out to your VODs. That is in line for DMCA, like copyright management, and they will get you for it. So all you've got to do to disable it from going from that VOD is tick off your VOD track. Whichever one you set it to, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6, turn it off. It won't go out to your VODs. It leaves you with a clean clip and VOD without any issues or concerns. No worry of getting pulled up on possible copyright movements. It's as simple as that, literally as simple as that. And then you've got music playing on your stream. Again, using that audio output capture makes things 10 times easier for you. You don't need to use voice meter. You don't need to use a third-party application. You can do it all from within OBS. Before I do wrap up this video though, I am going to show you how to set up sound alerts in a way that you can basically use it for audio ducking. So what we do here is we do I believe it's a browser source for mine. Add existing, because I've already got it set up. And I'll show you the properties on it. So when you add a new one, all you do is copy from sound alerts your URL. And then what you do is you control your audio via OBS, so you can control it in your mixer. And you click OK. So what that does now is you want to do overlay, because it's a browser source, it will have all your overlays and any alerts in it. And what you do is you transform it fit to screen. So all you've got to do, it will just play in the center of the screen then. And then what you can do is you've got an audio source there. Mine's already set up. So what you can do is, say you've got music playing, for instance, you can see that playing in the background there. Turn it up a little bit. So when a sound alert plays, what you want is the music to dip. So how you can do that is you can go into the properties of your filters on the music. It's the same filters as we used for what you call it, the microphone setup. So if I go to one I've already done before, so this is what it will look like when you come to do it. So I've got multiple set up on mine. I've got compressors for my bot, I've got compressors for sound alerts, and you can just use the compressor from within OBS. You don't need that regate plugin, you can just use it with an OBS. So what you do is you go into music and you just click filters. We'll bring that over here. We click our plus button again. We do compressor, and we are going to call this audio ducking. And what we can do by this is you've got a threshold here. So your threshold is what you want it set to. So what we're going to do is we're going to just make it all the way to -60. So anything which plays through a certain source will just duck it out. So I've got loads of sources, but what you want is your sound alert source. And you just click that. And what it means now is that if I find... I'm going to have to open up sound alerts quick. If you open up your sound alerts dashboard, it allows you to basically view and play test sounds. And that's what that's exactly what we're going to do. We're moving again. Bring us down to the bottom there. So, when you go to your dashboard on stream, on sound alerts, you can click on your redeems. And what you do is, at the bottom left, there's a little tab where you click testing browser source. And the browser source is what you've got in OBS. And all you do is test it. So if it's a little oversized, all you've got to do is click on it, click on that source, and make it smaller. Bring it over here. Play test again. There's your test alert. And that's pretty much it. So if we go to our monitoring again, you're going to want to be able to hear these. So you turn on monitor and output. Turn that off because I don't need that now. We're going to monitor the music as well, because you guys are going to want to hear that. So we're going to switch over to that as well now. I want to be able to hear it on my end. Or not, I guess. So I want to be able to hear it, so I'm going to turn it on for me. I'm going to make sure our music's playing again. So you guys should be able to hear that music. Now we're going to play a sound alert, which is called Crab Rave. It'll say test alert. And then it will just restore it in the music. So then you can play something like this. And because you made that threshold so low, no matter how quiet it is, it will just automatically duck your music out, and then it brings it back. It makes your stream look ultra professional. And all it is that little tiny filter set up in your music, that little audio ducking filter, and all you've got to do is change the threshold, change it down to -60, that's it, and then select whichever your source is which you want it to cut out on. And you can do the same with your bots. If you've got a separate bot like Firebot or StreamerBot, you can do that too, and you don't need to have voice meter. It eliminates the need for voice meter or wavelink. I barely use wavelink. I only use it for an extra couple of sources here and there now, mainly when I'm producing. But otherwise, you can do pretty much everything you need with an OBS, and it makes things 10 times easier for you, makes your stream look amazing. And I'd say that's about it. That's all you need. You don't need to have any of these fancy overlays, stuff like that. You can just have it like this. So we're going to pretend that's not there, and this is what it should look like for you. And this is what your scene will end up looking like. So something we do want set up for stream alerts as well is setting up your audio levels. So I've got my audio levels set up already because that's what I use to stream with. But what you also want to do is you want to go into filters and you want to set up an audio monitoring, because if you've got jump scares in your sound alerts, you want to be able to hear them louder than your stream can hear them. So what you do is you go into your filters and you can set up something called an audio monitor. And by all you've got to do that is click that little plus button, audio monitor 2, and then you just set your desired volume for how loud you want to be able to hear it. In which case I've done it here, and that is my monitoring source. So you can set that to desktop audio, say, and you want that set up. Make sure your desktop audio is muted on here, and you can set that as your monitoring source if you wanted to, which would be your default, or probably speakers, Realtek high definition audio. That'll be one of your audio systems, or it'll be your headset audio. But I've got mine set up to system because that is my monitoring device, and then you can set the level as per and when how loud it needs to be relative to your stream, so you don't deafen your viewers. If you've got scares like I have, I've got bang scares and jump scares, people don't want to hear that as loud as it might be in your ears and their ears. So that's why you can set your audio level on the stream as well as having it different for your headset. So that's how you set up sound alerts. It's as simple as that. I know it's not as simple, but this is the most simple way I've come up with, and it's through long, hard trying I've worked this out to make it as easy as possible for me, because having multiples of sources, it gets confusing. Whereas this, you know, that's your webcam, that is your game, that is your mic, that's the audio for your game, that is your music audio, and that is your sound alerts. That's it. Obviously, the more you add, the more sources you're going to have, but at this point, that's all you need. And then we come back to here. So I hope this video has helped some people. Let me know in the comments what you think, and anything which could be improved on. I'm always open to criticism, and it helps me make better videos in the end. And let me know if you want to see anything else. I do want to do a video on custom docs, because I know a lot of people will be questioning what's this featured chat, and all this featured chat means is that I can bring things up on my stream, someone's message, and have it sat there on stream. And it's just if someone said something important in chat, you can just bring it onto your stream, and then it's on the screen for everyone to view, even people who don't have chat open. So yeah, I hope this video has helped some people, especially with setting up OBS and making it easier and more accessible for people. And yeah, so if you like the video, give us a like, make sure you subscribe. A like goes a long way for me. It's the difference between seeing it, the next person seeing the video or not. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Take care, guys.